माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय
राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी
जय गोपी जन गिरिवर धारी जय
जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवर धारी
जय गिरिवर धारी जय
गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवर धारी
नंदन व्रज जन रंजन
नंदन जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
वनचारी वनचारी
यमुना तीरा
जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी
जय कुंज बिहारी
जय गोपी जय जय गिरिवर धारी जय गोपी
जन
जय
वरदारी
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन
यमुना तीरा वनचारी
यमुना तीरा
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण
कृष्ण हरे हरे
हरे
हरे
राम
हरे
राम
राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Rama Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama.
Rama
Rama
Rama Hare
Rama Hare
Hare.
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Nitai Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol
Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada,
Prabhupada Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Jai
All
Gurudev.
Premanand, Hari Hari.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Such wonderful mridang you play. Amazing. Okay, thank you everyone for joining. So we are in Sri Sri Radha Madhav Temple in Little Rock, and we thought we'll do our class from here. So since we are doing class from here, initially my plan was to just do general question and answers today, but since we have come to such a beautiful verse of Bhagavad Gita, I really wanted to offer this verse and in service of Sri Sri Radha Madhav. So I hope that's okay. It's a very important verse. It's the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. It's the summum bonum, the sum and substance of Bhagavad Gita. So very important that we understand this properly. So I'll try to break it down. So I know some of you have memorized it, so please feel free to offer it in the service of Sri Sri Radha Madhav here. Let's say our prayers very quickly. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं सतं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे त्वं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। बोल Thank you everyone for joining. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we are reading chapter 18. Okay, Poonam Mataji wants darshan of Radha Madhav. I think, okay, yeah. You see.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Beautiful.
So in our journey of Bhagavad Gita over last 2-3 years, we have come finally, to the crux of the matter here, the conclusion. Prabhupada says this is the essence, this is the summum bonum of Bhagavad Gita. So we were on chapter 18, the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, and we have come to the verse 18.65. So I think some of you have memorized it, and we will recite it, and whoever wants to offer, please offer. So this is 18.65, very famous verse. Let's start. Let's recite together. I'm going to share on my screen, and then whoever has memorized, they can offer it to Sri Radha Madhav here. So we will cover just this verse today because unlike any other, this is something we need to really dwell on. We really need to meditate on this verse, really go deep into it and understand the meaning. So please recite with me. I'll recite and follow after. 18.65. Manmana bhava madbhakto, manmana
Manmana madbhakto,
yaji mam namaskuru, mam yaji
man yaji mam namaskuru,
mame vashyasi satyam te, mame
mam
vashyasi
evayashi satyam te,
prati jane priyosi me, prati jane.
prati jane priyosi me.
3 times, so 2 more times. Manmana bhava madbhakto,
Manmana bhava madbhakto,
madhyaji mam namaskuru, madhyaji
madhyaji mam namaskuru,
pashyasi satyam te,
mam evayashi satyam te,
prati jane priyosi me, prati jane.
prati jane priyosi me.
Once more. Manmana bhava madbhakto,
Manmana bhava madbhakto,
madhyaji mam namaskuru,
madhyaji mam namaskaru.
mame vashyasi satyam te,
Mama eva yashi satyam te,
prati jane priyosi me.
prati jane priyos me.
So let's see who wants to recite. Rekha Mataji, I'm going to pin Sri Radha Madhav on the screen here and stop the share. And let's see. Okay. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Manmana bhava madbhakto, madhyaji mam namaskaru, mam eva yashi satyam te, prati jane priyas me.
Hari
Hari
bol.
bol.
Wonderful, Mataji. You just recited, you just learned it since last night, right?
Yes, Mataji.
That is amazing. Very amazing. Okay.
I was nervous.
No, you did good. Wonderful. And now you have mercy of Sri Radha Madhav, so you will learn many more verses. So this is
Yes,
just the
Mataji.
beginning. And it's such a perfect verse to begin your journey of memorizing verses. Who else wants to recite? Who else knows this? Okay, Navya wants to recite. Go ahead, Navya. Manmana bhav madbhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru,
Madhyaji mam namaskaru.
mame vashyasi
Vashyasi
satyam te,
satyam te,
prati jane priyosi me.
prati jane priyos me.
Very nice. Who else wants to recite? Thank you, Navya.
Mataji, can I go?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Manmana bhava madbhakto,
Manmana bhava madbhakto,
madhyaji mam namaskuru,
madhyaji mam namaskaru,
Mam evasyasi satyam te.
Mameva
Mam eva
satyam
yashyasi
te.
satyam te.
Pratichane priyosami.
Pratijane
Pratijane
priyosime.
priyosami.
Very nice.
Mataji, मैं
So
करना
wonderful. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
मन्मनामव मद्भक्तो
Manmana
Manmanava
Madbhakto.
madbhakto.
याजी माम नमस्कुरु
madhyaji
Madhyamam
Madhji.
namaskuru.
मामे वैश्यसि सत्यं ते
Mam
mameva
eva yashi satyam te.
जाने प्रियोसि मे
pratijane
Pratijane
priyosime.
priyosime.
Who else? Rajni Mataji, do you know this one?
No, Mataji.
Okay, next time. We have, so this one we will do today, and next time we'll do 18.66, which is even more important. So you all can memorize that, and we can offer both of these next time. So
Yes, Mataji. I can do the next time.
yeah, please try, all of you try to memorize 65 and 66 both. Anybody else? If not, we can go into the verse. Okay, Prabhuji wants to recite here. Manmana bhava madbhakto
Madbhakto.
madhyaji mam namaskuru
Manyajina
Madhyajimam
namaskuru.
namaskuru.
satyam te pratijane
Mam eva
priyosime.
yashyasi.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's look at the verse again. So this is this verse is very, very deep actually. Let's read the translation and then we'll understand it. So translation, who wants to read? Okay, Navya is reading. You have to read very loudly so they can hear it here.
Always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend.
Very bold. Will somebody read online? And I don't know if you could hear her.
I can go, Mataji.
Yes, Rekha Mataji, go ahead.
Okay. Hari Bol. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my dear friend. Hari Bol.
Namita Mataji, also go ahead, please, once more.
Sure. Hari Bol. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. So, if you remember, a similar verse came in chapter 9 before in Bhagavad Gita. And you know that the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita are concerned with Bhakti Yoga, right? The first 6, so Bhagavad Gita is grossly divided into 3 sections. The first 6 chapters are Karma Yoga. The middle 6 chapters from 7 to 12 deal with Bhakti Yoga. And the last, the section of 13 to 18 chapter deals with Jnana Yoga. In the Bhakti Yoga is the center of Bhagavad Gita. It's the most well preserved. It's like a diamond in a diamond box. It's like mithai in a sweet box. So it's in the center. It's very well preserved by Krishna in the center of Bhagavad Gita. And in those 6 chapters, chapter 9 and 10 are even further centermost. वो और भी ज़्यादा मध्य में है, chapter 9 and chapter 10. And in that chapter 9, Krishna said almost similar words, pretty much very much similar, except the last 1/4 of this verse was different. So that verse was like this. It was 9.34. I can pull that up so you can see how similar it was. And so you can see if Krishna is repeating these words again, how important they must be. Because when we repeat something, that means we are really emphasizing on something to make impact on the listener, on the audience. So before he said, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vashyasi yuktvevam atmana madparayana. So before he said, engage your mind always in thinking of me. So the first two lines were exactly the same. Man mana bhav mad bhakto. Engage your mind in thinking of me. Mad bhakto, become my devotee. Mad yaji, offer me obeisances and worship me. Mam namaskuru. Mam evashyasi yuktvevam. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly mention the difference here, and then we will focus mostly on 18.65. So in the last 1/4 of this verse in 9th chapter, he said, get completely absorbed in me, and then you will come to me. So which means he left it on us to get completely absorbed in him, in Krishna. So we were sort of relying on our own effort, that if we can absorb our mind, body, senses, everything in Krishna, then we will go to him. Become mat parayana. Parayana word is very important. It is mentioned many times in scriptures. Like it said, become Narayan parayana. Become very allegiant, very devoted, very, very surrendered to Krishna. So that means parayana. Jaise ki some people are pati parayana or patni parayana or bhog parayana. But Krishna says many, many times that become Narayan parayana. Become Vasudev parayana. So here he says, mat parayana, become very, very devoted, very, very allegiant to me, and then you will surely come to me. So he kind of left the ball in our court, that by our engagement in him, we will go to him. But in this verse, he says, Maam evashyasi satyam te prati jane priyosi me. Because you are my very dear friend, I promise you that you will come to me without fail. So before he sort of left it on us, it was our effort. Now he said, leave it up to me because you are very dear to me. Because you are trying to do all this, I will take you with me because you are my very dear friend. So we have now, by the end of Bhagavad Gita, established a relationship with Krishna, established a connection with Krishna, and we have become a very dear friend of Krishna. Now we have understood his supremeness, his opulences. We have seen his Vishwarup. We know that we are his children, that we are his servant. We are a spirit soul. We are not this body. We have understood all those concepts. And so now we have become his friend. Now we are allegiant to him. So that Parayana has already happened. And now he said, since you've become Parayan to me, since you've become my friend, I will take you with me. So now onus is on Krishna. Now the ball is in Krishna's court, not in our court. Before it was in our court that we had to manage things. So this is the subtle difference, that Krishna has now declared that we are his friend, or Arjun is his friend, meaning we, the audience that is understanding Bhagavad Gita, has become his friend. We have established a dear relationship with Krishna. So that is a difference I wanted to point out between the two verses. But let's understand the first two lines. Actually, the first two lines where we have to put in our effort matters the most to us as a devotee, as a sadhaka, as a bhakta. We are trying to become a bhakta. What does the first two lines mean? So let's go deep into it. So this verse is divided into 4 parts. Okay, it is, some devotees say this is 4 steps to Krishna. The first step is, let's understand first step, which is most important. Man mana. Man mana means think of me. Apna man mujh mein lagao. Absorb your mind in me. Think of me. Okay. So let's understand this man mana. Now, you might have heard this saying, yen ken prakaren mana Krishna niveshye. By any means, somehow engage your mind in Krishna. And we have understood that mind is very, very chanchal. Mind is very naughty. It is very flickering. It has a tendency to run here and there. So somehow, while living in this world, we have to engage our mind in Krishna. Whether we do it through services, whether we do it through chanting, whether we do it through kirtan, whether we do it through harikatha, shravanam, but somehow engage your mind in Krishna. That is why it is said that there is only one rule, one principle to remember, and every other principle is subservient to that rule. And what is that rule? Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So, 2 rules. So, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Smartavya satatam Vishnu, vismartavya na jatuchit, Sarve vidhi nishedhasyur etavyor eva kinkara. That smartavyam satatam Vishnu. Always remember Vishnu or Krishna. Vismartavyo na jatuchit. Never let him be forgotten from your chit, from your mind, from your consciousness. Sarve vidhi nishedhasyur. All vidhis, all rules, nishedh, restrictions, prohibitions, all rules, restrictions are subservient to these two rules. Sarve vidhi nishedasur etavyor eva kinkara. They are servants to this one rule. So if by any engagement, by any services, by any means, you can engage your mind in Krishna, you can always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna, then that engagement is the topmost engagement for us. So then comes the question, and this is a very important question. Okay, you are saying engage your mind in Krishna all the time. Krishna is saying this. But how? Okay, before we come to the process to think about him, let's talk about how to think about Krishna. Because somebody can say, in our scriptures, there are so many examples. Let's say example of Kamsa. Kamsa was also thinking of Krishna. He was thinking, he was very fearful actually of his own life. He was very worried that Krishna will come one day and the prophecy will come true and kill him. So he was always thinking very intensely, very deeply of Krishna. So is that how we think of Krishna? Hiranyakashipu was also thinking of Vishnu, that he's my enemy, I need to kill him. He killed my brother Hiranyaksha, I need to take revenge. So he was always thinking of Krishna in this way. But this is not the mood in which we think about Krishna. And Prabhupada has given us the correct mood to think about. Actually, Prabhupada, but mostly Rup Goswami, who is the main acharya of our tradition, of our sampradaya. We are called Rupanugas because we follow in the footsteps of Rup Goswami. What did Rup Goswami say? In his very important granth, in a very important literature he wrote called Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, which Prabhupada translated as Nectar of Devotion. Rup Goswami said, Anyabhilashiта shunyam jankarmadiyanavrtam anukulena krishnanu shilanam bhaktiruttama. So in this verse he said, anukulena krishnanu. You have to think of Krishna, but the thinking has to be anukul to Krishna. It has to be pleasing to Krishna. You have to think in such a way that you think favorably of Krishna. You think in a way that will that in a very loving way, in a way that pleases him, that not fearful, not fearing for your own life, not taking revenge from him, not in a vengeful way, but actually in a very pleasing, loving way, like Mother Yashoda thought of him, like Radharani thinks of him, like gopis of Vrindavan think of him. Think of him in a mood of love, in a mood of separation, in a mood of friendship, in a mood of servant, in a mood of father, in a mood of mother, but not in a mood of Kamsa or these demonic people. So imagine Kamsa was actually so much thinking of Krishna that any word that started with K, you would think of Krishna. So you would say he's very deeply Krishna conscious. He's very much conscious of Krishna. His mind is always engaged in Krishna. But no, that's not the mood. The mood is, it should be favorable out of care, out of love for Krishna. Okay, like Radharani, the Krishna's complexion is like tamal tree, right? Blackish like tamal tree. So Radharani would look at a tamal tree and see Krishna's figure in the tamal tree. She would see a bumblebee and somebody says Madhu, and she would think of Madhu, my Madhu is Krishna, and start feeling separation from him. So she would see a freshly formed monsoon cloud, a Ghanshyam, a Meghshyam, and she would think of Krishna. So that's how we think of Krishna, like Radharani did. So one time, this is what happened. Gopis were sharing that, last night I had this dream about Krishna. This is what I saw. He did this in my dream. He did that in my dream. So Gopis were sharing like this. And they asked Radharani, what did you think? What did you dream about? Did you dream about Krishna last night? So Radharani said, what are you talking about? I did not sleep thinking about Krishna. How can I dream about him? I did not even sleep thinking about Krishna. So that's the mood, favorable, loving, caring for him. Mother Devaki was thinking about him, fearful for him, not fearful for herself, like Kamsa, fearful for Krishna. that that Kamsa will harm him one day. So that is the mood, that somebody will, anything that is favorable for our bhakti, for Krishna, somebody will harm our Krishna consciousness. If I engage in these activities, my Krishna consciousness, my bhakti will go away. That is what Rup Goswami is saying when he says Anukulena Krishna Anu. Everything should be favorable when we think of Krishna. So this is the mood in which we think. So the first step is we should think about Krishna, yen ken prakaren, whatever, however we can, mood in which to think about Krishna, and then comes the process to think about Krishna. So how should we engage our mind in thinking about Krishna? Krishna has said many times, not just this verse, he has said before, Satatam kirtan tomam namastentascha dridvrata, yatantascha dridvrata namastentascha mam bhakta nitya yukta upasate. That my devotees always think about me, they always do my kirtan. So he's saying, do my kirtan. And that's how you can be constantly engaged in me. Satatam kirtyanto mam yatantascha dridvrata. Do this yatan, this effort with determination. Yatantascha dridvrata. It's hard to chant Lord's name, but chant still. It is very hard to do this with yatan, with effort. Dridvrata, with determination. Chant my names. Mind will go here and there, but it's okay. Still chant my names. So one way to think about Krishna is by chanting his names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nitya Yukta Upasate. Every day, my devotees do my worship in this way. And so in this way, we should develop Nam Ruchi. We should develop taste for Krishna's names. We should develop a Nam Nishtha. We should become very allegiant towards the name. So try your best. And again, our Goswamis, our Acharyas have told us that we should do Sankhya Purvak Nam Gan Natibhi. We should always do name counting. Because somebody can say, and I have heard this many, many times, people say, I'm always thinking of Krishna. I don't need to chant because I'm always thinking of Krishna. Krishna said man mana, so my mind is always engaged in Krishna. But no, it is not possible in this world to just emptily engage your mind in Krishna. You have to follow a process to engage your mind in Krishna. And the process is given by Krishna himself when he says, Satatam kirtyanto mam. When he says, Tesham satat yukta nam bhajatam priti purvakam. Do my bhajan. And how? In which mood? Priti purvakam. So even in that verse, he has given the mood and what to do. Do my bhajan, priti purvakam. And how? Do it daily, satatam. And our Goswamis have also told us, do sankhya purvak. The only way to engage your mind is to count the number of times you're chanting the names. Don't just say, oh, I did something, I am not counting, I don't need to count. No, if you count, like our Guru Maharaj says, whatever you count, whatever you account for, it will increase, it will escalate, it will elevate. Like people do exercise, right? They count, I'm lifting 10 pounds and I did 10 sets of my biceps. I did 20 sets, or whatever, 10 counts and 3 sets. So they are counting. That's why their muscle strength is improving. Similarly, if we are also counting our names that we are chanting, our Nam Nishtha, Nam Ruchi will escalate. It will improve every day. So that is the process given to us, that chant. So that's one process. The other process to engage your mind other than chanting, because somebody can say, yes, chanting, I'm trying, but it's still, my mind goes here and there a lot. Then hear Harikatha, read Harikatha, and speak Harikatha. So do the Shravan, Kirtan, and Smarnam of Harikatha. So then engage your senses, your tongue in speaking Harikatha, your ears in hearing Harikatha, and your eyes in reading Harikatha. Prabhupada has left us so many books. You can read all those books. And Nityam Bhagavad Sevya, the best book to read, Srimad Bhagavatam. Read Srimad Bhagavatam daily. We were celebrating Bhadra Purnima the other day, and we were discussing how only very rare souls come in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam, and we have all come in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam. It will take away all inauspiciousness from our lives. So hear Harikatha, read Srimad Bhagavatam daily. Nashta Prayeshwa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. Not once in a while. Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Now, automatically your mind will be engaged if you are reading Bhagavatam. And people that have very sincere, intense desire to read and hear Harikatha, to speak Harikatha, they cannot live without it. They have to hear, read, and speak Harikatha daily. one of our very beloved gurus is His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj. He's left his body some years back, but he was so allegiant, so parayan, Bhagavad parayan. He would speak Bhagavatam daily, and his disciples understood that mood of Gaur Govind Maharaj. One day they said, "Oh, Maharaj, there is a festival today. Everybody's engaged in some services, so nobody's able to speak, nobody's able to hear Bhagavatam today." He said, "It's okay." And they saw that he became a little morose, little bit down because he could not speak Harikatha today. So they arranged, disciples for his pleasure arranged for him to speak Harikatha. So that's how, the mood of our line, our sampradaya, our dhara, the dhara that is coming down is that we like to hear, speak, and read Harikatha. So that's why we distribute Harikatha to everybody that contains Krishna's names, and we can absorb ourselves, our mind fully in Harikatha. That is the process to constantly think of Krishna. So what does that give us? It gives us Shravanam, hearing Harikatha, Kirtanam, speaking Harikatha and chanting the names of Lord, Shravanam, Kirtanam. So you will see that this verse will take us through the 9 limbs of devotional service. You will see that this verse, this 2-line verse, in this Krishna has encompassed the 9 limbs, the Navda Bhakti, the 9 limbs of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam is covered, right? Now, when you do this Shravanam and Kirtanam, when you are always chanting Lord's names, when you're always reciting and speaking Harikatha or hearing Harikatha, what will happen automatically? What is the phal of Shravan and Kirtan? Remembrance, Smarnam, right? Vishnu Smarnam. So remembrance will automatically happen. So that is why the next step of Navda Bhakti is Smarnam, because after the Shruti phal, the phal of Shravan and Kirtan is Smarnam. So always remembrance or meditation on the Lord will automatically happen. Somebody who's chanting Lord's name, somebody who's reading Harikatha, hearing Harikatha, he's constantly associating with Krishna, because this is none other than, names are none other than Krishna. They're not different from Krishna. Nam Chintamani Krishna, right? Abhinnatvam Nam Namina. So there is no difference between Nam and Nami. So when you're reciting Harikatha, reciting names of Lord, you're constantly associating with Krishna. And so you cannot but meditate on Krishna. So constant mana will automatically happen. So smarnam will automatically happen. And that's why our Guru Maharaj also says, always keep the transcendental vibrations going, because that is the only way to keep Krishna in your mind. The whole time keep the transcendental vibrations going, whether through the names, like we just did Kirtan, you chant the names in the morning, then you're hearing Harikatha, then you can read the book later. So constantly you can remember Krishna. That is why wherever devotees go, he also says, just like, like a gambler, he goes to Vegas and he says, which is the best casino to play today? Where should I go put my money? Where should I go play the game today? That is how devotees are. When they go to a new city, they're like, where is the game going on today? So what is their game? Shravan, Kirtan, and Smarnam. Where is the game going on? So this is our game. We're always looking for where the real game is going on for us. So Smarnam will happen in this way. And then the last part of Manmana is, I'll stop after this portion and then we can take some questions. Last part of this Manmana is that when you remember Lord, then you will see actually in a very, very wonderful way, Krishna will manifest himself in your life. You will see Krishna's pastimes taking place in your own life. It's not like pastimes are just buried in the pages of Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhagavatamrita and other books. They will happen in a very tangible way, in a very real way. Krishna will participate in your life, and you will see that you are dancing to his tunes. You will see his plans, his arrangements unfold for you. He will reveal himself to you more and more. So everything will unfold in front of you, and that is when you see Krishna everywhere and you become his friend. You have a relationship with him now. So that explains the Mad Bhakto part. Now you will become a devotee because now you're following a process, right? So Man Mana kab hoga? When you become Mad Bhakto, when you become devotee, you will become his friend. You will start serving him. You will start seeing his presence in every aspect of your life, how he's taking part in your life. He will unfold everything for you. So you will become his devotee, you will become his friend, you will become his servant, you will become his child, his beloved. All those relationships will unfold for you. So you will become Mad Bhakto will happen. So this is, I'll pause here. Let's hear from everybody. I want to hear some reflections, some questions, or some realizations. Let's take something. Who wants to share?
Mataji, can I go?
Yes, Mataji.
So definitely, I have felt that, Mataji, since I started reading Bhagavad Gita on my own too. I think I shared with you the beginning of the year, I started reading on my own. The days which I skip, or I think I don't have time that day, that day is a very uneasy day for me. Like that night, I cannot sleep. Like it's like something I haven't done right today. And it's a very uneasy feeling. It's very hard to describe, but those days are very restless for me because I skipped my Harikatha. I didn't hear a lecture, or I skipped reading my portion for today. Like it's a very difficult day. That night I cannot sleep. Like, and I have to get up and do it. So that's something definitely I have felt that I have to do it every day, no matter what, how busy you get, but I have to take that time out and read my Harikatha or listen something. So, that's definitely how I felt it. So I wanted to share that with you.
Very bold. That is amazing, Mataji. That means you're so attached to the names and katha that the day is very dry for you. Yeah, and that is how it is. Material world is actually very dry, whereas spiritual world is very, very nectarian. It's there is so much variety in it. It's so variegated. And in material world, it's punascharvana charvananam. People are just chewing the chewed. So same thing they're doing over and over again. That is why I was saying the other day that this type of drinking Harikatha is like elixir of spiritual life, elixir of divine love. It gives you not just temporary high, it's a constant high. So the day you miss your dose of that elixir, you're going to, you're going to feel it. So you have to drink it daily, huh? Withdrawal. You are having withdrawal, so you have to drink it daily. It's a constantly increasing high, and it will take you back to Krishna. So you lose taste for the material world. The taste of material world seems very, very lowly, very, very inferior, actually. So thank you for sharing that. Who else wants to share it?
Can I go, Mataji?
Yes, ma'am.
So I remember I had asked you a question that how this Bhagavad Gita is confidential because everybody knows this. So when I started Bhagavad Gita in the beginning, I found a little boring. But then when I started reading by myself, I used to a little bit get headache. Who's going to read Sanskrit? It's too hard. But like you said, when you are determined and you keep going, you will learn it. Now I know why it's confidential because when you keep doing it with determination, God comes to you and makes it happen for you to be able to read, even though I cannot read those verses properly. But He makes it easier every time when you go and read this Bhagavad Gita. So now I know why it's confidential because if you do with devotion, it will get easier. And that's why I feel it's confidential because if you don't have devotion, if you don't have love for Bhagavad Gita, no one can just read it. This is what I feel.
Yes, Mataji, you're very right. That's a very common question people have. Bhagavad Gita is available everywhere. Then why does Krishna say it's confidential knowledge? Because you're just reading it in a dry way without application. But you have to apply it in your life. You have to make that effort, and then Krishna will reciprocate. So for the people that are just reading it without putting any effort, they're missing Krishna's reciprocation. So I describe it like this, Mataji. Bhagavad Gita is like a book of recipes. You cannot get satiated just by reading the recipe. You have to cook the recipe. When you cook and eat, that's when you will get the taste. So that's why people don't get the taste because they have not cooked the recipe given in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is giving the recipe, man manabhav madbhaktos, think of me, chant my names, do my seva, do pay me obeisances, do deity worship. He's giving the recipe, but we are not cooking it. We're not cooking the recipe. Recipe खाने से किसका पेट भरा है, किसको taste आया है? So neither you will be satiated, nor your stomach will be full, nor you will get any taste. So that's why people are not getting any taste, any reciprocation from Krishna, because you did not apply it in your life. So Bhagavad Gita, yes, reading it just dryly without application may give some pious credit, some pious benefit. But unless you apply, you cook the recipe given, apply the principles, the sutras given in Bhagavad Gita, there is no reciprocation from Krishna. And without any realizations on daily basis, when Krishna has that relationship with you, when you become his devotee, when you become his sakha, sakhyam bhav happens, servant bhav happens, then you will start understanding it more deeply, and that is the confidential knowledge. So you hit it on the head, Mataji, correctly. Very good. And you all churning out such great nectar out of the verse. Anybody else wants to share anything?
Yes, it is rightly said. One should enjoy it and then read it. Or you read it, enjoy it, and apply it on your body. And once you start applying it, you really love it. And you start feeling like reading it again and again. The same was with me. Hari Bol.
Very bold, very nice. Okay, so yeah, those who have applied it have felt the difference, have felt the benefit. So that's the way to go. And the important thing to remember, these people that are saying that they have applied and felt the difference, these are the people that have, including me, have done everything else that the materialistic people are doing. Whatever enjoyment was there in the world, we have done those things too. And yet we think there is higher taste, higher engagement in Bhagavad Gita because it is giving us the nectar that the material world never did. So it's not like we were born yogis or dhyanis or gyanis. We were engaged in this world and completely trying to enjoy it, the bhogis of the topmost order. So we have done both and chosen this over the other. So that's something to also remember. So, so then the next part of the verse comes. Let's continue. It says Mad Bhakto. Mad Bhakto meaning become my devotee. So by following this process, what will happen? Exactly the things that you all said. You will start pleasing the senses of the Lord, in just not just pleasing your own senses, not just engaging not just enjoying with your senses, but engaging your senses in the pleasure of the Lord. So there is a very beautiful verse that says, आत्मेन्द्रिय प्रीति वांछा तारे बोली काम, कृष्णेन्द्रिय प्रीति वांछा धरे प्रेम नाम. So when you do apni senses ki gratification, that's called काम or lust. But when you try to please the senses of Krishna, dhare prem naam, that's called prem. So enjoying yourself with your with your senses is not as helpful, as topmost as giving pleasure to the senses of the Lord. And when you give pleasure to the senses of the Lord, you will get enjoyment yourself. Krishna will give you the happiness. You will feel the bliss. You will feel the deep sense of happiness that you never got by just enjoying with your senses. So serving the senses of Krishna, you'll get actually a deeper bliss, a deeper sense of enjoyment, a deeper sense of happiness, which is actually eternal, which does not cause bondage, but actually it binds you to Krishna. It actually reveals you your relationship with Krishna, and that's how you become Mad Bhakto. So who is a bhakta, who's a devotee? The one who is trying to serve the senses of Krishna, please the senses of the Lord, and engaging all his senses, his tongue in chanting, his ears in hearing, his tongue in speaking Harikatha, his eyes in looking at the deities, his tongue also in eating, honoring prasadam, with his limbs he's walking to the dham, to the temple, doing parikrama, all that. Your mind, the sixth sense. So remember, all of these senses, when the five senses are engaged, the sixth sense, which is mind, will automatically be engaged, will automatically get controlled. And remember, in chapter 10, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that among senses, I am the mind. So he's the mind in all the senses. So when you are engaging all these other senses, he has the power to control the mind. So your mind will get automatically controlled. So the yogis, jnanis, dhyanis may not be able to control your mind, but a devotee will be able to control his mind. That is why he's not saying mad jnani, mad yogi. He's saying mad bhakto, become my devotee, not become just a yogi, dhyani, jnani, become my devotee actually. So a devotee's service is to serve Krishna, and that's how he gets enjoyment and bliss. And secondly, he does not exploit others for his own enjoyment. He serves others, not only Krishna, he serves others, not exploits others. So that's why dharma is a journey from being selfish to understanding the real self actually. from body to spirit, from understanding, from being in matter to soul or spirit, right? So being in material consciousness to Krishna consciousness, that is dharma. From keeping yourself in center, me centered, to Krishna centered. So before, everything was revolving around us. We were very much me centered. Give me pleasure, give me enjoyment. I want to do this. This is good for me. So from being me centered, now you become Krishna centered. So what is good for Krishna? How I can serve Krishna? What will please him? What will please his devotees? What will please my guru? What is right according to Shastras? Keeping Guru, Sadhu, Shastra and Krishna in the middle, that is called a devotee. So Mad Bhakto means becoming a devotee, establishing a relationship with Krishna. So this is the meaning of the first line. Let me go to the second line, because this is a little bit shorter and easier to understand, and then we will stop. So then Krishna says Madhyaji. Madhyaji means do my yajan or do my worship. And Mam Namaskuru, offer me obeisances. So Madhyaji means do something very practical for Krishna. So when we say we have love for Krishna, we have established a relationship with Krishna, now we have to engage in some type of service to Krishna. So love is love only when it is expressed through service. Love without service is not love. So somebody can just keep saying, I love you, but does not mean anything unless you serve the other person, unless you do something for them. So that is why, in order to express your love for Krishna, for devotees, you have to do something tangible, something real to show that love. So like Prabhuji does GT worship and plays Mridang here. And so that is what Krishna is asking us to do worship. Not just smarnam. Smarnam ho gaya, man lag gaya. Now use this life, this body, the resources, the family, the community that I have given to you, everything that I've given to you, use them in my seva, do something tangible, engage them. So, and that will give utmost pleasure to Krishna. So practically express your love. So, because if there is no service, really, there is actually no gratitude. There is no appreciation. There is no love. So without service, there cannot be any love. So you have to do something. Then somebody can say how to do something. You do Vaishnav Seva, because, Krishna may not be very easily accessible to us. Yes, you can do DT worship. So actually, Madhyaji, Krishna here means DT worship. Krishna here means Archanam and Vandanam. Krishna means do the Archana, do offer me prayers, do Vandana. So Archanam and Vandanam is being mentioned here. So we already covered Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smarnam. Actually, Sakhyam also happened, and now Archanam and Vandanam. So Archanam and Vandanam means like doing different types of, not only that, but any kind of Vaishnav Seva or Guru Seva or, Bhagavad Seva is counted as Madhyaji. So picking flowers for the deities, making garlands, Tulsi Seva, cleaning the temple, Marjanam Karna temple, serving the Vaishnavas, Vigraha Seva, making ornaments or dressing the deities, right? So many sevas can be done. Or Panchopchar, actually, Panchratri ki vidhi with which deity worship is done. So you offer Panchopchar, 5 things are offered. Gandh, Dhoop, Pushp, Deep and Naivedya, right? So Gandh is basically aromas or fragrances like chandan and fragrant oils are put on the body of Kumkum is put on the body of Radha Krishna. Dhoop means incense is offered. So again, aromas and fragrances. Pushpa is flowers. Deep is lamp, ghee lamp, oil lamp are offered. Naivedya means some food items. So milk or cooked food items or fruits, anything like that is offered. So that's Naivedya. So that is Panchopchar that is offered. So some rituals or some seva needs to be done. Some people say, no, we don't need to show any ritual. We don't need to do anything because we just love God within us. No, but you have to show that. So the rituals are actually, they become spiritual when you understand that you're trying to please Krishna. You're doing everything in service of Krishna. You're expressing your gratitude in a very practical way. And that is called Madhyaji. Like that beautiful song of Narottam Das Thakur, he says, I really, really love this song. It's in Gopi Bhav. It's actually in Manjari Bhav. The song says, Shama Gauri Ange Divo Chandane Raganta Chamara Dulabo Kabe Heri Bromokha Chandra Gatiya Mala Te Mala Divo Do Hargare Adare tuliya divo karpura tambule Radha Krishna prana mora jugala kishora. So this is the Vrindavan bhav. This is Vraj bhav. This is the mood of Manjaris. But how can you get to that bhav? And in our tradition, that's the bhav we are trying to reach. But how can you get to that bhav? You can get to that bhav by doing services here while in this body. So you do deity worship. You start practicing. Start practicing. If you want to serve Radha Krishna in Vrindavan in the groves of kadam trees, how will you do that? How will you become eligible or qualified for that service if you have never practiced before, right? Like when I serve this class, I have to read before, right? I have to practice before I recite a verse. I have to practice it on my own. Before Nirbhay Prabhu sings a kirtan, before Prabhuji plays mridang, you have to practice before. How can you just go and play it in front of the deities? So how will we serve Radha Krishna and Vrindavan if we have not practiced this in our life, in this body that was given to us? So this is our practice. This is how we start developing this taste of service. So do the Gatia Malatir Mala, make the mala, make the flower garland, offer to the Lord, pick the flowers, do the Tulsi Seva, put the chandan on their body, dress the deities, make dresses and ornaments for them. So how lovingly we dress ourselves, how lovingly we put makeup and jewels and ornaments on our body. But no, now do that for Krishna, do that for the service of Krishna. So how long will we just decorate this body, which is just made of matter, is essentially going to be dead within, few years, matter of few years. We're decorating it so lovingly. But here is the eternal body of Radha Krishna that we need to decorate, we need to serve. So then he says, Mam Namaskuru. So Madhyaji ho gaya, worship karna, Archanam and Vandanam. And then comes Mam Namaskuru, which means to pay obeisances. So bow down in front of Krishna. So you bow down in front of devotees. That's why we always say Dandvat Pranam. Actually, we should not just say it, we should do it. But we are so lazy, we just say it. But actually, there should be proper Dandvat or Sashtang Pranam or Panchang Pranam for ladies, right? So give due. So why Mam Namaskuru is mentioned by Krishna? So you would say he already established a relationship that we are his friend. Then why is he saying Mam Namaskuru? Why are we bowing down if he's our friend? Because we have to give due respect to Krishna. We have to understand his greatness, his supremacy. We have to understand that he's our supreme father. We cannot take him cheaply, because that's a mistake many people make. They take Krishna cheaply. But Krishna is the supreme person. He's the Anant Koti Brahmand Nayak. He's the cause of all causes. Brahmaji says, Ishvara Parma Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the complete knower of everything. He is the complete proprietor of everything. He's maintaining this material world and all the millions of universes and millions of living entities. He's infinite and we are infinitesimal. And we have to understand that about him. We have to understand that supremacy of the Lord. And don't take him cheaply. Don't take devotees cheaply. Don't take guru cheaply. That's why we have to pay Dandvat Pranam. That's why we have to always give pranams to the devotees. That's why we say Vancha Kaltarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Forget God. हमको तो devotees को भी से भी blessings लेनी है, pranams देने हैं. Don't take their presence in your life cheaply just because I got devotee association. It's okay. They are dancing on the streets, so they are everywhere. One lady, this activist, this politician said recently, they are chanting on the streets Hare Nam. So, but you cannot, even looking at the devotee, you will be delivered. Just looking at the devotee, you will get so many pious credits. Imagine hearing from them, and then imagine paying them obeisances, and then imagine getting blessings from them. You will get so much pious credits. So you cannot take devotee association in your life cheaply. So Krishna is allowing us to serve him. We are so tiny, yet he's accepting our service. We have no qualifications. What qualification do I have to speak Harikatha in front of Radha Madhav? It's their mercy. What qualification do we have to hear Harikatha, to chant his names? It's the mercy of Prabhupada. It's the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we get to chant his names daily. But we take them so cheaply. We take the name so cheaply. We are distracted, looking on our phone, watching TV while chanting, but taking it so cheaply. So that's why Mam Namaskuru, that's why more the obeisances you pay, the more you are going to understand that Krishna is very, very big and we are very, very tiny. He is somebody who's served by millions of Lakshmis. They're serving him constantly. So who are we to serve him? Why would he accept our service who are so impure? So this is the mood of Dasyam here. In Mam Namaskuru comes Dasyam and Pad Sevnam. And then finally Atmanivednam. So Pad Sevnam, Dasyam and Atmanivednam. So service is not cheap. Devotee association is not cheap. These opportunities to participate in services, to contribute, to somehow facilitate these services. This is done for our own purification. It's not like Krishna needs anything. When we offer bhoga, it's not like Krishna has some deficiency of food that we are giving him food. It's for our own purification, so we can accept the remnants of his bhoga. So hum unka jhoota kha sakein taki. So this is not for his benefit. This is for our purification, for our benefit. He does not need anything from us. Everything is given by him to us. Everything is his property. So everything that we do, kirtan, katha, vigraha seva, this is for our benefit, for our purification. That's why we have to bow down. We have to show some reverence. We have to show some awe, some wonder that Krishna is letting us serve. This is a very, very big opportunity. So we have to know Sambandh. That's why in Bhagavatam, the first few cantos just deal with Krishna's supremacy. Many, many times Vishwaroop comes, universal form comes. And we say, why is this universal form coming so many times in first few cantos of Bhagavatam? Because he's establishing his supremacy. This is me. And so that when you get to the 10th canto, you understand that these leelas of Krishna that are happening with the Gocharan Leela and Brahma Vimohan Leela and Kalya Daman Leela, and these are not cheap. This is not some ordinary boy's pastime when he is eating mati. It's not like any other kid eating dirt. No, this is the Supreme Lord who has shown you his supremacy in the first 9 cantos. This is the God coming in 10th canto. So you don't take 10th canto cheaply. That's why they're so far down the line in the 12 cantos. They come in 10th canto. So that's why we never go to 10th canto, because we don't understand who Supreme Lord is, why he's called Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the fountainhead of all Devi Devtas. He's the fountainhead of this entire spiritual and material world. From him originates everything. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajante mam. So know this before you do his bhajan. Buddha bhav samanvita. The intelligent people know this relationship. They bow down. That's why devotees you will see do 108 dandavats, 1008 dandavats, Dandvati Parikrama, where they do, Prabhuji has seen, right, 108 dandavats in one spot while doing Vrindavan Parikrama or Govardhan Parikrama. Sanatan Goswami used to pay, Prabhuji has done Dandvati Parikrama of Govardhan. So Sanatan Goswami, how many 1008 dandavats he used to pay to Madan Mohan DT, right? So imagine Sanatan Goswami, so pure a soul, paying 1008 pranams to. So we should make it a habit to give pranam at least once every day in front of our DTs, if not once, at least 3 sandhya, 3 times, and 3 sandhyas happen in a day. And I really like this concept is actually exemplified by Arjun in chapter 11. So I really like those verses. I will just show one verse. But he says many, many times he pays obeisances. I'll show you actually chapter 11. So this is chapter 11 translations. I'll show you how many times he pays obeisances to Krishna. So you see that I looked for the word obeisances in this chapter, okay? He says, so text 14, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjun bowed his head to offer obeisances and with folded hands began to pray to Supreme Lord. This is what we need to do. Offer obeisances and folded hands. And then he says, then he glorified the Lord. He said, I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious unto me. Okay, dusra verse, third verse. After hearing these words, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. Bar obeisances he was offering. Namaskritya bhuya eva. Bhuya matlab bar. He was offering obeisances. Okay. So this was third. Then let's look again. And this is Krishna's friend who's offering obeisances. So we can see how he is. The next verse. 35. Okay. So this is another I therefore offer my respectful obeisance unto you 1,000 times and yet again. So he says this verse, he says, you are the air, you are the supreme controller, you are fire, you are water, you are the moon, you are Brahma, the first living creature, you are the great grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times and yet again. This is how we need to feel that, oh, we are so small, we are like an ant in front of Brahma, or like intelligence of an ant in front of the intelligence of a scientist. We are so small. That's how we should feel and pay obeisances. Then he says, okay, look at this. He says, obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading, and thus you are everything. So many times he has paid obeisances. And then in the next verse, this verse is very beautiful. I love it. He says, Sakheti matva prasabham yaduktam, He Krishna, He Yadav, He Sakheti, Ajanata Mahimanam Tavedam, Maya Pramadat Pranayena Vapi. कि आई डिड नॉट नो योर महिमा, अजानता महिमानम तवेदम. और मैंने आपको ऐसे ऐसे नाम से बोला, कभी यादव, कभी कृष्णा, कभी सखा, ऐसे ही बोलता था, क्योंकि मुझे कुछ पता नहीं था आपके बारे में. आई डिड नॉट नो अबाउट यू एंड आई मेड फन ऑफ यू. प्रमाद किया मैंने आपका. आई मेड फन ऑफ यू इन मैडनेस और इन लव. I dishonored you many times. I was jesting with you. I lay on the same bed with you. I sat and ate with you. Sometimes alone, sometimes in front of my friends. I made fun of you in front of friends. Oh, infallible one, please excuse me for all these offenses. This is the mood of Arjuna. So now he's paying obeisances from every direction. So this is how we need to pay obeisances to Guru, to devotees, to Bhagwan, to the deities. Pay obeisances. Paying obeisances means humbling yourself, showing that you are lower than them. You're low and you need their blessings. We always need blessings. So always ask for blessings. Always ask for. Always show humility. One very wonderful devotee has said, if you don't pay obeisances, actually Prabhupada said this, either you bow down now to Vaishnavas or Krishna, or the wheel of time will make you bow down to the disease, old age, death, and infamy. So you will bow down one day you will be forced by the wheels of time to bow down. So you will bow down regardless. So right now you can bow down to the Vaishnavas or Krishna. Even if you don't feel any love or allegiance to them, still bow down. Just the act of bowing down will deliver you. Because Krishna says, Mrityu sarvas haraschaham. So either you give something willingly or it will be taken away forcibly from you. So that's why you should bow down before you are humiliated or broken by the wheels of time. And this is something another devotee said. He said, may the hard crushing grinding machine of life extract some humility from me, just like a sugarcane grinder extracts some humility, extracts nectar from sugarcane. May this wheel of time extract some humility from me. So in this way we should bow down. So this was the last part of this verse. I'll stop here. Let's hear some reflections. I think we have covered the verse. The end, Krishna says that I promise you, because you're my very dear friend. So Krishna says, if you do these things, if you become my devotee, you constantly think of me through various services, through various chanting, Hari Katha, Kirtan. If you worship me, Archanam Vandanam, and you do Namaskar to me, like Dasyam Pada Sevanam, then I promise you, you will come back to me. So this was the verse, glorious, beautiful verse, where Krishna has given us a promise that I will definitely have you come back to me, and he has given us some instructions to follow. So one promise and one instruction. Okay, who wants to share something? Let's hear. Somebody's written something in chat. Okay, Rekha Mataji is saying that I wanted to. Then she's giving Danvat Pranam to everyone, to all the devotees into Prabhupada. Thank you. Hari Bol Mataji. Who else? Yes, let me just take some reflection. Who wants to share? Please go ahead. So you saw that in this verse we covered 9 limbs of devotional service, Navda Bhakti. Okay, let's hear. Hema Mataji, Poonam Mataji, Raghu Prabhu, I'm calling out on you because I've not heard from you today. Please share something. Okay, is anybody sharing? Hema Mataji, are you available? Or who else? Prinka Mataji, Devika Mataji, Namita Mataji, Rekha Mataji. Please go ahead and share some reflections, realizations. This is a very important verse. And hopefully you can all memorize this by next time. This one and the next one. Has Krishna said somewhere else that you will come back to me, no doubt, without any doubt? Like just like he says in this, Maam evashyasya samshaya. Maam evashyasi satyam te. He says somewhere else. Anybody knows? Navya, you know? Yes, Mataji, please share.
Somewhere in chapter 10 or 11, I remember seeing, I don't know which text.
Yes, 11 he does. Yes. 11 you want to see? Actually, many verses. I was just checking to see if you all know. There are many times Krishna has said that you will come back to me without any doubt. Actually, last verse of 11th chapter, he says, Yasa mameti Pandava. That whoever does all these things, Yasa mameti Pandava. That, oh Pandav, he will come back to me. In verse 15.6, Na tad bhasyate suryo, na shashanko na pavaka, yad gatva na nivartate tad dhama paramam mama. He says that you come back to my abode. What? Yes, Navya, you come here. He doesn't say about coming to my abode. What about 9.34? Adada manmana bhamat bhakto, right? That one he says. And then 4.9, Janm karm cha me divyam evam yoveti tatvata tyaktva dhyam punarjanma naiti mameti. He will come to me, O Arjuna. Then there is in one verse 8.7, he says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyascha mai arpita mano buddhir mam evashyasi asamshaya. That in all situations, just think of me and fight. So very similar to actually this meaning. Similarly in 12.8, I think you all may know, he says very famously. Mataji, were you sharing something? Please go ahead. Somebody I heard. Okay, Raghu Prabhu is saying that he's working. Okay, yeah. So 12.8, it says, Nivashyasi mai eva, that you will always live in me without any doubt. So just wanted to show some verses where Krishna has said the same, made the same promise. Okay, so I think we can stop for today. But this is the beautiful verse. We should think of Krishna. We should think in the mood of love, service, devotion, favorably. Think favorably of Krishna. The process of thinking about Krishna is chanting Hari Katha. Then he says, do my worship with Archanam, Vandanam, and also with any kind of services you can engage your body in. He says, become my devotee. So engage in all this process. And then you will become my friend. And he said, but also bow down to me, Mam Namaskuru, always pay obeisances. And we heard the importance of paying obeisances, very important. And also, Prabhupada makes 2-3 important points in the purport. One, he says we should always think of Krishna in the Shyam Sundar form, in the 2-handed form. We should not think of any 4-handed forms, because that is the mood of our Sampradaya. He is our Aradhya Bhagwan, so we should think in the 2-handed form. I will talk about this next time a little bit more. What is the 2-handed form? How is that so important? Secondly, he says that in order to do these services and 9 processes, 9 limbs of Navda Bhakti and Manmana karne ke liye, what you have to do? You have to arrange your life accordingly. You have to make a routine in such a way that you can incorporate all these things in your lifestyle. So you have to manage your time and your life accordingly. So you have to live a life that is Krishna conscious. And third, this is something I've heard from some other devotee, very, very important. He says, always stay in Krishna consciousness. Somehow or the other, always stay in Krishna consciousness. So those are the 3 important points I wanted to mention. And then we can elaborate on these next time. Okay, thank you everyone for joining. Instead of chanting today, one round, can we hear some kirtan? We have a very wonderful kirtaniya here, Prabhuji, who will help us. Brij Mohan Prabhu, and they are actually Rajvasis, but came here to serve Shri Radha Madhav deities. So I'll stop the recording and start separate recording for Prabhuji's Kirtan, but whoever is able to stay, please stay around. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालय कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Krishna. Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.